This episode is brought to you by the RVA Podcast Network. Find more information at rvapodcast.org.
We do not own the rights to anything or any music that's heard during the duration of this podcast. Also, a lot of these shows will have explicit content. So if you are not a fan of any cursing or profanity, you may want to walk away, but that does not mean that every show will consist of such. Welcome to season 6 of The Pass, BT. Didn't think we'd get here, but here we are. Show going a bit of a different direction, as you may have noticed near the end of season 5. Sports is still a thing, but not as much. You'll get more information about what's going on in the tech world, what's going on in the music world. We actually have kind of gotten rid of Ass of the Week. Once in a while, you may get one here and there, but I still want to stick with the main gist of passing the message to you all. So take your time, but don't waste your time as you sit and enjoy a new season of The Pass with your host, BT. The first episode of 2022, episode 340 is here. I guess I need to do a new intro. If y'all have heard it, if I haven't edited it already, I'll edit it and work on that. But we're back. It's been a minute, a whopping 2 weeks for some. But we're back at this show. We're back to getting the flow going again and getting some content or sharing some thoughts from the tech world and just from my life and kind of what's been new and what's been going on. So I hope everyone was able to enjoy their holidays accordingly. If you celebrated or didn't celebrate, most importantly, I hope you were able to value and cherish the time you had with loved ones. Also, I want to share with you all how important it is to take time and truly focus on you. That has been my biggest takeaway and my biggest lesson that I've found as I left 2021 as I'm entering 2022. We do a lot of breath work. We do a lot of shadow work. We put a lot of effort. We put a lot of time into taking care of and making sure everyone else around us is okay. But not once do we really sit and ask ourselves personally, are we okay? I'm going to give a crazy story, but it ties into this like perfectly. A friend of mine who I've known on Twitter, her and I have been friends on Twitter for, I would say, almost 3 or 4 years. And I want to say it was either last year or the year before, she brought something to me that I needed to address. And I believe I've talked about this on the show before. I don't remember. But I would talk to her, and whenever we would have conversations, it was almost as though more time was spent with me talking about myself instead of really asking and checking in on the person who I was talking to, which was her. And that really made me like think of things and really sit back and realize like, I really got to do better with that. So I realigned my thought process. I changed my delivery with her, and her and I have been great friends ever since. The reason I bring that story up, and sorry for the background noise, I'm 9 times out of 10 I'll be able to clean it up. If I can't, but we'll work through it. It's interesting because, and of course the leaf blower is right here. When she reached out to me yesterday and we had a convo, that exact conversation came up. And not that conversation, but just us talking and like, how are you doing? And I was trying to return it back. Well, I'm good. How are things with you? She was like, no. I asked, how are you doing? And I had to really sit there and think like, dang, how am I doing? And, you know, we kind of had a conversation about that. We talked about tech. We talked about NFTs. I had someone talk to me about NILs, but it was good because we were able to kind of not circle it in a way where I'm only talking about what I'm dealing with. And it was kind of like, it was provided and it was felt authentically as a safe space. I think that was the whole point why I wanted to share that. So that's why I've been very honed in and very focused or in learning how to have good intentions with making sure everyone else is fine. I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be all right. I'm human. I have my days. Some days are great. Some days are but you got to press through it and work through and know what your priorities and what your tasks at hand are. There's a chance I'll give a little bit of a quick tech update from my end. There's a chance I could possibly be learning more coding soon. I'll keep y'all posted on that. We'll be learning some Java and Python. I was initially going to do a little bit of my own self-taught and just kind of run through and learn some stuff. But I also know, even with the option that I'm being given for it, will be kind of in a similar format, but it'll actually put me into a more core routine of actually getting online and making it a thing. My mental investment is a lot stronger with the business. I'm excited about that. And I'm gonna step out of the tech piece for a second because I want to talk about this while I have my space to do so, because I did not have a chance to talk about this and I want to talk about it now. I've never before. At one point, I knew and understood or realized the importance of energy, but I can definitely say in the last couple of months, well, not a couple of months, last couple of days, I've really honed in and realized how valuable it is to know how to control or manage your energy. And the biggest part of why I say that is because whenever we hear or think of the term energy, we automatically think of electricity, we think of lights, we think of power, we think of connections with people, but it's adding those factors in as well as just people being in our presence in general and their energy, good or bad. And you have to know how to, inadvertently, you have to know how to control your feelings or your thoughts when their energy is a little off. I've been able to really see how important that is because a lot of times, and it's not that people do it on purpose, it's just where things are, where you're available. So by being available, that puts you in the, okay, you're available, so we need to address X, Y, and Z. And at times, X, Y, and Z may not be the things that need to be addressed in that moment, but because they're put in front of you, you accept it and you take it head on. It's almost like the inadvertent age-old statement of you got to stay ready to get ready. Sometimes you may not be ready for what people are bringing, but it's more so along the lines of knowing and acknowledging your threshold. That's a perfect way to describe it. We all have a threshold. And whether we realize it or not, some of us ignore that threshold. But we have to know what comes with ignoring that threshold, like what the consequences could possibly be in ignoring that threshold. I have, like I said earlier, I've made time for who I can. And most people still get like as much of me as they need or can get, which is okay. But then I'm also in a position in knowing that there may be those times and those points when I might just not be available for them the way they want me to be available for them. And that is completely okay. The being okay part is the bigger picture in this topic, on this conversation. If y'all can or can't tell, and it's not intentional and it was not on purpose, I did not plan it this way. This podcast will be a lot unscripted, very, very unscripted. And that's just where I'm at about that. I know I've said that I'm not going to talk about sports as often, but once in a while I will get into sports, and I want to address this story while it's fresh on my spirit. Well, we're going to go with a high note, with a good note, and then we're going to kind of shifted a little bit. I didn't see all of the game, but I did get to see most of the highlights. Klay Thompson. It's been that long since I've done sports. What is wrong with me? Klay Thompson played his first game with the Golden State Warriors in over 920-something days. And you can tell he was glad to be back to playing basketball. First play that Golden State got, they were able to create a play so that Klay could get kind of a curl off on the left side and leading to the right, going towards the middle lane. He got a floater, somewhat of a layup, went in. One play, he got the ball, went to the basket. It was kind of like Jared Allen got put on the island to have to check him, to check Klay, and Klay just drove right on by him and went to the basket and dunked. So it was like just good seeing him get back to it. And I think what makes it even more of an exciting factor too is because now you're gonna see the Splash Brothers back in action again. We haven't seen this in over. The last time we saw them play together was in the finals. Like, think of how much of the NBA has changed since they've played each other. Or since they've been on the same team. Kawhi is in LA. Anthony Davis is in LA, the other LA. Westbrook has played for, 3 teams since then, because he was with Washington. Well, he was with Houston, he was with Washington, and he's with LA now. John Wall kind of has done his own thing and decided what he wants to do. Giannis won a championship. Durant is in Brooklyn doing his part. Harden is in Brooklyn. Kyrie, has been out for a while due to the vaccine. And I'm just going through things as I'm thinking of in my head, but just how much has gone on in the NBA since he last played a game. It's mind blowing, but it's good to see him back. I'm definitely knowing he's gonna go out there and do his thing, because Klay is gonna do what Klay is known for doing, and that's getting shots up. He's not gonna. I'm not gonna, like, this season he's gonna average double digits, but next season is gonna be the one, because I want to see if him and Steph both average over 25, which, I mean, they've done it before, but doing it at this high of a level in their, at this point of their career, that will really be what draws my attention and really keeps me looking forward to seeing what they have. Everyone I possibly know has talked about this story. And I have not wanted to talk about this story, but it's been over a week. He's been on a podcast and talked about it, talked about what has occurred. Friends and connections that I have in my sports group, we've gone back and forth about this. As I always call it, the talking heads have all talked about it on every level and playing field possible. We're going to talk about Antonio Brown and his quote unquote outbursts during the game. Third quarter, leading up to a play, you see Brady getting ready to drive his team down towards the goal line against the Jets, and all of a sudden you see Antonio Brown taking off his uniform, taking off his pads, throws his shirt into the crowd, throws his gloves into the crowd, and runs off the field. Everyone who is anyone has painted their narrative or their thoughts or their ideas about it. And we don't know anything from anything. I think, if nothing else, Antonio Brown was frustrated. I don't think it had anything to do with the incentives. I think it has to do with the playing. But I also think it has to do with if he's not 100% to play. And it's tough with football because a lot of times, and anyone who's played the sport knows this, you really don't realize the magnitude or the pressure that's being put behind someone to go out there and quote unquote give it their all, even when their all is not what they should be playing with because they need to sit down. But it's you're playing for that next contract, or you're playing for that incentive, or you're playing for the signing bonus, or you're playing for insert thing here. The correlation of thoughts of CTE, possibly, thinking of the hit he caught from Vontaze Burfict is coming into the conversation. Mental health is coming to the conversation. It's so many magnitudes of it. And then everyone's looking at it as the coach, decided to release him. They didn't really get him the help he needed. It's so tough. It is very, very, very tough to really think of what it is, where it's going, how it's going to go, or how it plays out. Now, before I go any further, this is going to be a quick show. I'll go ahead and let y'all know that now, because like I said, I'm kind of getting the dust off of the microphone a little bit, because I have not recorded like I usually do. But I want to say this before I go any further. All of my sources that I use to look up stories will be used again. I will be getting some more topics to get into and discuss, because I do want to get back to the meat and potatoes of this show, which is technology, which is music, which is video games. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Awesome Games Done Quickly is coming up soon, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm always looking forward to that, because it's never not been enjoyable. And I actually am behind, because it's actually live right now. So any of you who are into speed runs, Awesome Games Done Quick is on Twitch. You can definitely check that out and get some good content and some good views from that. I got a special shout out I'm going to give. And I normally am usually not known for giving shout outs in this magnitude, but I'm going to call it what it is and go with where my space is taking me, where my mind is taking me, where my spirit is taking me. I'm giving a shout out to my friend Siobhan, who I've probably talked about her on the show before. I'm fingers crossed. I'm trying to find a way to get her on the show, because I really want her to speak life into the podcast, as well as just speak life into those who are listening, because she is an artist in her own right. I will say it that way. I give her credit or give her props, because the last few days I've been following her. She's been, putting up some excellent quotes, some solid quotes. And she shared some videos, and she shared a video that really made me understand how important it is about things that we see of the visuals. Whenever a person is live on TV, we see the person that's live on TV. What we ignore is the producer. We ignore the cameraman. We ignore the people who have to hold microphones. We avoid people who may have teleprompters involved. We avoid all of those people who are backstage. Well, I'm sorry, not backstage, but on the other side of what you're visually seeing. And that is not a good thing by far. And that's why I'm giving her credit, because I'm giving her a shout out. And this is anyone else who is in that field or in that realm, anyone who's behind the camera, anyone that takes photos. They may not want to be the star of the show, but they know they're key to the star of the show, being the star of the show. I want them to all get their credit today. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's just not talked about enough what goes into getting people art, or getting people designs, or getting folks what we know or what we consider as quote unquote the finished product. Whenever someone, I don't know, when you, with me, it's different only because I'm the behind the scenes person. So it's almost like everything would be my title, but that's not how I look at it. I could thank people who have let me, like I could thank the library where I record. I could thank the places that I have done recordings at. I could thank different avenues and venues. I could thank people who I've had on the show who didn't want to be on the show. And when I say didn't want to be on the show, it was, I'm not really very talkative. I'm shy, but then they got on and it was a great conversation. I really want to look at it as, let's remember those who are on the other side of the recording. And I say that because she, like I said, she posted a video from I Am Athlete, which is one of my favorite podcasts. And she was showing the production side of it. And I was like, you know what? That's really not talked about enough, because you have to make sure that the people who are talking are wearing their microphones properly. You're getting the proper audio through their microphones, all of that. And I'm just giving those two examples. There are multiple examples, but those are the first two in my head. Obviously video is so important. And I say this all the time, and I think this, I can talk about this because y'all know we keep it a stack. I don't have anyone who really works on, everyone has asked me multiple times, would I or have I thought of doing video on my show? And my clean cut answer is not really. And the reason why it's been that way or it's like that is because I don't see a need of wanting to have anyone involved in the show on that level just yet. And it's not that I don't think it would help the show, but it's also because I've just not, it's not something that I'm I need it type of thing. Like, I would love to do video. But if I did video, I would have to do it somewhere where I have like a studio and, was actually to that extreme of recording, like a green screen, all that type of stuff. But to all podcasters who have videographers or cameramen, give them their credit. Please acknowledge their role in getting you to be seen from the right angle with the right visuals, that your outfit ain't looking frazzled, like all of that. Fashion, people who are involved with the fashion, all of that needs to be acknowledged and given credit today. And I just wanted to share that because like I said, she shared a video that showed that, and I was like, I've thought about that and I understand it, but I didn't understand the magnitude of it until I placed eyes on it and visually realized, like, oh, there's a lot that goes on that we don't really hear or see because it's not a topic or it's not something that gets that standard aha, voila attention moment. At least that's how I'm observing it. So I just wanted to do that. But yeah, we will be 2022. I do plan to really put more time into the podcast. I always said that I'm still talking to people. I really have not sat and put anybody in a position of, do you want to be on the show? People are going to be on the show if they're interested in being on the show. I've learned that it ain't as sweet as it looked, because everybody, it's still mind blowing to me, because I want to say before I did my own podcast, I had been on 2 podcasts before, and I did one radio interview that I recall. There were probably others, but I know the interview that I did with my sister Gloria, who yesterday was her 1 month anniversary since she passed, and I had to process that, which was a lot. But I'm bringing those things up and I'm talking about it in this regard only because, the first podcast I was on, I was kind of trying to figure out what this was about, how this works. And it was kind of when podcasting was nowhere near where it is now. And the same with the second. My connections from the first show weren't very strong, but the connections with the second, one of them are still like, her and I are good friends to this day. And I've actually met other people because of that podcast in a very unique way, but I digress. I really do want to do, and I say this, I know a lot of times I say this, but this year I'm really standing behind it. This year I want to make more time for the show. And when I say make more time for the show, I mean it as I want to sit down and actually have conversations about what is going on in tech. Not just y'all sitting here hearing me talk about where I'm at with my current role. Because I've dodged that as well on this show because I don't want that to be kind of the basis of what we talk about. I want to talk about other things. I want to get into the Droid iPhone discussion. I want to get into the stock in how like learning, getting like, and this is I'm gonna throw this out there as a line, and hopefully someone, if they hear this, can reference someone that would be open to it. I would like to talk to someone on the show who can really give some honest input and honest conversation about stock, about NFTs. If you're comfortable with talking about it about NILs, because I want to get people in a space that we're not afraid of it. A lot of people are afraid to do a lot of things because they're comfortable with doing what they know. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the raw reality is, if the world around you is changing and you're staying in that one sane, stable place, there's nothing wrong with that stable place, but you're not giving your mind an opportunity to grow. And that's probably the message that I want to share. And this is not throwing any shots at anyone. This is an open dialogue to share this with anyone. If an opportunity can come that can get you into a better position, don't ignore it due to pride or ego. Because if you do, that opportunity may never come again. So please take advantage of those chances and those opportunities when they land, because it's just how life is. Life will give you something and you might not see that something ever again. And you got to be prepared for what the other side of that looks like. So that's my message for you all. I hope y'all have enjoyed this show. Like I said, we're doing quick shows. It's going to be about a 30-minute show. I guess I could work on the intro. We'll figure something up. But yeah, until next time, y'all. Well, that was definitely a fun show. I hope you all learned something. I hope you all gained some information either about myself or about yourselves, because I know with the message that's passed along, it's usually meant to do a little bit of reflection, maybe some shadow work, not sure, all about your niche or lane. But I want to take time and utilize this section to share. Thank you to anyone who has taken time to listen to the show, to subscribe to the show, to leave any comment, to leave any feedback. If you want to leave any information, the pastbtpod@gmail.com. Podcasts are uploaded using Buzzsprout, probably one of my favorite platforms to be on. And to all my artists, if you know that you have a gift, share that gift with the rest of us, because we're waiting. Until next time, this is the Past signing out. Peace.